Hey, fellow writers, this is Rich Blazevich from Self-Publishing Fastlane. In this video, I'm going to cover what are the best computers when you're writing a book. Now, remember to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. Specifically, what I'm going to cover in this video is what are the best computers for writing a book and what are the pros and cons of each of those computer options. Now, the best computer for writing a book might be the computer you already have. If your computer's working for you and you're not having major issues, stick with it. Writing a book should be about being comfortable, being familiar, and so if you have a computer that's working, you don't need to change it. If you don't have a computer that's working for you, then this video should help. Now, what I recommend is start with what's the go-to type of computer for you? What are you comfortable using? Do you like using a Windows PC, or do you like using an Apple, or do you like using a Chromebook? Those are the three main options when it comes to computers. If you don't have a strong preference, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the advantages and disadvantages of each of these three types of computers, and then I'll get into specific computers for each type so you can pick and choose a specific one that meets your needs. Let's start with the type of computer that most people are familiar with, and that's a PC that runs a Windows operating system. This is kind of like the high-powered all-purpose computer. I would think of it like a big extended cab pickup truck. It can do a lot of things. It can haul things, it can move things, but it does take a lot of power. So some of the advantages of this high-powered all-purpose machine are it runs the widest variety of software programs. More programmers are creating programs for Windows PCs than any other computer platform. It also has the broadest range of prices and options. So if you want an inexpensive computer or you want a very expensive one or anything in between, you can find an option that's right for you. Some of the disadvantages are because it uses more power, it has a shorter battery life. PCs tend to be more complicated to use. So if you're new to computers, it takes a little bit longer to use a PC than it does the other computers I'm going to show you. If you've already used a PC, this might not be as relevant. Another disadvantage is that software programs that run on PCs more and more are requiring that you pay a subscription fee. And that's because software companies have figured out they can make more money off of people if they charge you year after year after year to use their programs. And then finally, PCs tend to be more prone to viruses than the Apple or the Chromebook computers. You can buy a PC computer for as little as $400 for a good computer, or you could pay as much as $1,500 or more if you want something with lots of bells and whistles. And I recommend you buy a PC if you think your primary use for your computer is to run business applications, or you want a wide variety of software that you can run. So that's a PC. Let's look at an Apple. If a PC is a big extended cab pickup truck, then an Apple is more like a flashy sports car. It is the designer choice of computers. It's a little bit more expensive. It does still have a lot of power, but it also has a really nice design to it. Some of the pros are Apple computers are super fast. They are easy to use. They have that premium look and feel, and they come with a lot of free software programs. So most Apple computers are preloaded with a good word processing program, a spreadsheet program, a presentation program, video editing software, audio editing software, and you don't have to pay a subscription for those software programs. They're already loaded on, and you get to use them for free once you bought your computer. Some of the cons of an Apple computer is, first of all, they are more expensive than PCs, and you get fewer overall software options. So a lot of programmers that program for a PC first, and they may or may not offer an Apple version of their software programs. A typical price range for an Apple, you can get a good one starting at around $800, and then you could pay $2,000 or more for one of the high-end Apple computers. You might want to buy an Apple if you plan to use your computer for graphics or audio or video production or something that involves design. Now let's talk about Chromebooks. Chromebooks are kind of the simple, inexpensive choice of computers. I would consider them like the Mini Cooper. Doesn't have a tremendous amount of power, but boy, it can move really quick and it uses very little energy. And what that means is some of the pros are it's super simple to use, it is inexpensive, it's fast, and it has a long battery life. Some of the disadvantages are it does have limited software options, and it tends to require an internet connection for optimal use. And that's because the computer really basically is an interface to the internet. So if you want to use a word processing program, you use your Chromebook to access Google Docs. Google Docs is actually hosted on the internet. It's not hosted on your computer. So the Chromebook is that interface to use Google Docs or Google Sheets or Google Drive or any of the other software programs that run online off of the Google platform. Now, a Chromebook also runs other programs other than the Google Suite programs, as long as the programs run off of the internet. It tends not to work very well, or it doesn't work at all for programs that need to be hosted on your computer. A typical price range for a Google Chromebook is you could pay as little as $250 for a good one, or you could pay $750 or more for a really high-end Chromebook. I would recommend you buy a Chromebook if you're on a budget, and if you don't want to do much more than research and writing. It's really good for researching. It's really good for using Google Docs or a different word processing program that runs off the internet. It's not great at running other software programs that need to run off of your computer. To summarize the comparison of these three types of computers, the Google Chromebook is the inexpensive option. It's the best option if you're on a budget and you want something simple and fast. The PC is the most powerful computer and it's got a lot of variety to it. So it's a little bit more expensive, but it's the best all-purpose option. And then if you can afford it, an Apple is a great choice. It's a more premium computer. It's a little bit more smooth in the way it runs. It does cost more money, but it's a great choice, especially if you're going to use it for creative use, things like video editing or graphic design. Now let's get into the specific computers that I recommend. But before we do that, I'm going to tell you the criteria that I used to select the specific computers. I looked at things that writers care about. So some of the things that are important to writers are you want a very comfortable keyboard, you want a good high quality monitor, you might want high quality construction because writers tend to grab their computers and they move around. So if you want to go to a coffee shop or if you want to go to a library and do writing, other than just sitting at your standard desk, you want something that's built really well. You want reliable file storage because you do not want to lose the file that contains your book. You want a long battery life. And then again, I mentioned portability. Portability is super important. So using these as the criteria, here are my top choices for each type of computer. For a Chromebook, my budget choice is the HP Chromebook 14, and it is a very inexpensive $260. And that's a great price. That's kind of the entry level as far as good computers go. It has a really good Amazon rating. So people who have bought it on Amazon rate it an average of 4.6 out of 5 stars, great rating. And then it has a good size screen. 14 inches is kind of an average size screen, but that's big enough for most authors when they're writing a book to see what they want to look at. Some of the pros of the HP Chromebook are it has a really long battery life, it is very inexpensive, and it's simple, really easy to use. Some of the disadvantages are it does have limited storage. You can get an external storage device, so you can expand the storage, but what comes with the computer is very limited. It does have limited upgradability. You really can't upgrade the features much. And it has limited software options. It's also a little bit on the heavy side. About 3 pounds is average for a laptop computer. This is 3.2 pounds, so it's a little heavier than average, but not bad. When you go into premium options for the Chromebook, Google Pixelbook Go is a fantastic Chromebook. It's priced at around $650. Again, it gets an Amazon rating of 4.6 out of 5 stars. So the people who buy it on Amazon and give it ratings tend to like it. And it has a reasonable size screen, 13.3 inches on the screen. Some of the pros when it comes to this Google Pixelbook are it's lightweight, comes in at about 2 pounds. It has a really long battery life, so 10 to 12 hours on the battery life. It has an excellent keyboard and it has an excellent webcam. So if you're going to use it for video conferencing or recording videos, it's actually got a pretty good camera for that. And then it has a really good touchscreen. Some of the disadvantages are it does have limited storage. It is very limited in the upgradability, and it has limited software options just like any Chromebook. When it comes to PCs, the budget option may be a name that you're not familiar with. I recommend an Acer Aspire 5, and Acer makes fantastic, low-priced PC computers. The price for an entry-level Acer computer is about $430. And Amazon rating, again, 4.6 out of 5 stars. So the people who buy it on Amazon really like it. And it has a nice big screen. The screen is 15.6 inches. Some of the advantages of the Acer are it has that large, high quality screen. It has a really nice keyboard. It feels very comfortable to type on, and it has a good webcam. It has plenty of power. So it's got enough memory. It's got enough horsepower to run most of the programs you're going to want to run. And it runs a really wide variety of software programs, just like any PC computer does. Some of the disadvantages are it is heavier than other laptops. It comes in at about 4 pounds. It has a lot of unnecessary software loaded onto it. So when you boot up the computer and you use it for the first time, what you'll notice is there are a lot of programs already loaded on the computer, and that tends to make it run a little more slowly than you want it to. And a lot of those programs will ask you to buy a subscription. So they might give you a trial period, but over time they'll say, all right, trial period's up, time to pay, and they'll want you to pay year after year after year. And then it does have a relatively short battery life. When you look at premium options, a really nice premium option for a PC is the Microsoft Surface Pro. And this is a really nice little computer that's easy to take with you. Price range is anywhere from $800 to $1,000. It has a 4.6 rating, which seems to be standard amongst all of these top choices so far. And it has a little screen, but it should be big enough if you're writing a book. It's 12.3 inches, so it's the smallest screen of all of the ones that I'm recommending. It is very lightweight, and that's the big advantage. It weighs 1.1 pounds. It has an extremely portable design. It has a really good battery life for a PC. You can get over 10 hours of battery life usually, and it has a really nice touchscreen. So if you're willing to spend a little bit more, this Microsoft Surface could be a great choice. Some of the disadvantages are that really small screen. So if you like a big screen, this might not be the option for you. And then a lot of the programs require subscriptions. So you can tell I'm not a big fan of PCs requiring that you pay for the software programs year after year after year. So now let's look at the Apple computers. The budget option on an Apple computer actually costs about $1,000. So you pay more just to get in on an Apple. The ratings are fantastic though. The people who bought Apples on Amazon love this Apple MacBook Air. And this new M1 chip is fantastic. I actually have an Apple Mac with an M1 chip, and it's amazing how smooth and how fast the processor is. It has a good size screen, about 13.3 inches. And then here are some of the advantages. It does have that super fast M1 chip, which is a great processor for a computer. It's very lightweight, so it's 2.8 ounces. It has a long battery life, so you can get over 10 hours of battery life. It has a really nice keyboard and a really nice display. And then there's a lot of free or inexpensive software programs. Like most Apples, it comes with all of the software programs that you might need. And if you do need to buy something else, additional software programs are fairly inexpensive on the App Store. Some of the disadvantages are the screen is a little bit smaller than average. It is a very expensive computer, and there aren't quite as many programs available on an Apple computer as you have on a PC computer. Now, when you want a premium Apple computer, there is a beautiful Apple MacBook Pro 16-inch. And I love this computer. It's got a big screen on it. It's really expensive. It comes in at around $2,400. People who have bought it off of Amazon give it a very high rating, so 4.7 out of 5. Now, you might think 4.6 is average. 4.6 is average for what I selected to be in this video. There are a lot of computers that get a lot lower ratings. So coming in at a 4.7, that's an outstanding rating for people who have bought this computer. And it has a gorgeous 16-inch screen. This is a beautiful screen. You can see a lot on it. So if you're a person who wants a big screen and you're willing to pay for it, this is a good option for you. When you look at the pros and cons, the leading pro is that big, beautiful screen. It has a very long battery life on this computer. It has an outstanding keyboard and camera, and it has a lot of software that's pre-installed on it that you never have to pay for. It's paid for when you buy the computer. You don't have to pay those pesky subscription fees. Some of the disadvantages are this one's a little bit heavier. It's 4.3 pounds, so that big screen requires a little extra weight. It is expensive. And again, like most Apples, you don't get quite as many software program options as you get with a PC. So let's summarize what the top choices are. If you look at the budget option and the premium option, the choice for a Chromebook would be the HP Chromebook for a budget option and the Google Pixel Book for the premium option. If you prefer PCs, then I highly recommend that Acer as the budget option, the Acer Aspire 5. If you're willing to pay more for a PC, that Microsoft Surface Pro 7 is a great choice. And when it comes to Apple, you are going to pay more for Apples. The Apple MacBook Air is a great choice for around $1,000. And then that MacBook Pro with the 16-inch screen is my top choice if you're willing to spend top dollar. And that comes in at around $2,400. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you see something on this list that meets your needs. If you want to see more videos like this, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to get free stuff off of my website, right now I'm offering a free self-publishing checklist. So if you want to see all the steps that you need to write, refine, and publish your own book, go to my site, selfpublishingfastlane.com, look for the little button that says download checklist, click on that, and you can download the checklist. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this video helps. Hopefully you found a computer that meets your needs, and good luck with your book. I wish you the best.